If you think credit cards are free money, you're already losing. The truth is, credit cards are tools. Use them right, and they'll open a lot of doors for you. Use them wrong, and unfortunately, you will end up in years of debt. Today, I'm giving you the brutally honest guide to building credit from scratch. I'm going to talk about the exact steps that I've taken and what I think beginners should follow, and then the most common mistakes that you absolutely need to avoid. Let's start off by defining a few terms like what even is credit and what is your credit score and what does that represent, and then how that may affect your life. Credit essentially is going to be when a bank or lender gives you money now, expecting that you will pay them back later, and they're hoping that you miss a payment or that you pay that minimum payment so that they can get a little bit interest back with the money that they gave you. Your credit score, I like to think of it like a representation of trust. So when you pay your bills on time, that's going to gain you more trust, but when you're late or you have missed payments, you're going to lose a lot of trust. I started building my credit about 2 or 3 years ago now, and it's opened up a lot of doors and opportunities for me in just such a short amount of time. Yesterday, I was switching over from Mint Mobile to T-Mobile, and they ran my credit just to see if I could get the highest promotional value, which I did end up getting because I have a strong credit score. But there's plenty of other ways that this score is going to affect your life. For example, you want to go buy a car, they are going to check your credit score to see what interest rate, what loan you can qualify for. All of that affects your monthly payment down the road on that car loan, or even going to find your next apartment. They're still going to check your credit history. I help people all the time find apartments around the Birmingham, Alabama area, and I always have to tell them, what's your credit history? What is your credit score? Because these are things that people are going to check, and it's going to affect your day-to-day life and how you navigate this crazy world. I'm sure you're probably asking, where do you even start? My first tip, I would say check and see if you already have credit. A lot of people don't know that student loans actually is a form of credit. Like I said, a bank or a lender giving you money now, expecting that you pay them back later. So if you have any student loans, that's going to be on your credit history. You will already have that. I don't recommend getting student loans as your first form of credit because once you pay that off, that's going to lower your average credit age, and that's effectively going to lower your score as well. If you don't already have student loans or anything like that, I would look into three options for starting to build your credit. First is going to be getting some sort of secured card. With a secured credit card, you are giving the bank your money to lend back to you, and they just want to see if you're responsible. They want to see if you're going to make those payments on time, and you can build that trust in order for them to give you more money at a later date. The second is a student credit card. This is where I started. So I opened the Discover It student credit card when I first started building credit. And basically, it's just a beginner friendly card. You don't have to have a lot of credit history built up in order to qualify for this card. And it has 0 annual fees. So a lot of times this card is going to be good for beginners because a lot of times you're not going to have that money up front to pay $500 on an annual fee for a card that you probably won't use because your spending isn't aligning with the benefits and the values that you get from that card in the first place. Or if you aren't old enough yet to get a secured credit card or a student credit card, I would ask someone who already has good credit history and a good score to allow you to be an authorized user on their account. As an authorized user, you'll be able to start building your credit before you can even get a credit card in the first place, as long as the person you ask is a responsible person when it comes to paying their bills on time. All right, so you've got your first credit card. Maybe it's a secured card, maybe it's a student credit card, or just some beginner-friendly credit card that you're able to go and take advantage of. But there's going to be three big rules that you want to follow here. The first rule is going to be always pay on time and in full. Payment history is going to be the biggest factor that is going to affect your credit score, which, if you remember, that is trust. Credit score is your representation of trust. So your payment history is going to make up about 35% of your credit score. Honestly, I just put my cards on auto pay, and then every month on my statement due date, it automatically comes out of my bank account. Now, I know that everybody doesn't have the ability to just set their card on auto pay and just let it draft out of their accounts. Stuff happens, life happens. So honestly, I would set a reminder on my phone for 2 to 3 days before your statement due date to go in and pay that statement balance off in full so that you don't get any interest and that you have an on-time payment reported. The second rule is going to be to keep your credit utilization as low as possible. Before I dive into numbers, I do want to define what the credit utilization is. So if you take your statement balance and divide it by your credit limit and multiply that number by 100, that'll give you your credit utilization. Ideally, you want to keep this number under 10%. That's a little bit extreme, but that is what I do. As long as it's under 30%, I think you'll be fine, and that'll help you build your credit in the long run. Now, if you are someone who does not have student loans already, it's going to be even more important for you to keep your credit utilization under 30% within those first 6 to 7 months. And the main reason for that is because you don't have any prior credit history. Essentially, a bank or lender just took a chance on you, not knowing if you were someone who pays your bills on time or pays them back. And so if you're reporting over 30% for the first 4 to 6 months, it could be detrimental to your growth and your credit score. Before calculating your credit utilization, I think there's two dates that you need to be able to distinguish between pretty easily. And that's going to be your statement close date and your statement due date. Your statement close date is the day that your bank or lender takes a snapshot of your account and sends it to the credit bureaus. That is the number that's going to get reported to the credit bureaus, and that is where they get your credit utilization from, the statement close date. So on that statement close date, you want to be sure that you have your credit utilization under 10% or 30%. For example, let's say that you have a $1,000 credit card, right? If you want to keep it under 10%, you're going to want to keep it under $100. So you can go and spend that whole $1,000 or $900 on that credit card, but by that statement close date, you want to go back and pay that money down to where the balance is only $100. Therefore, on this statement close date, when the bank takes a picture, a snapshot of your account and sends it over to the credit bureau, it's reporting 10% or lower. Now, your statement due date is just when that $100 becomes due. So on your statement due date, remember, either have your card set up with auto pay or set a reminder on your phone or some way to remind you that you need to pay that balance off in full and on time. The third rule is just don't go out there chasing too many credit cards when you're starting off. Slow and steady is going to build your credit history. A lot of these credit gurus and different things will tell you that you need to apply for a card every 3 to 6 months. But starting out, I don't think that is the game plan and what you should really be doing starting out. I had the Discover Student credit card for a full year before I decided to apply for my next card. I let my credit history build up, just on time and in full payments, keeping my credit utilization low for a full year before I decided to go and apply for my next card. Come here. And carrying a balance on your card does nothing for your credit. If anything, it's taking money out of your pocket and putting it in the bank because you're going to have to pay so much interest on the balance that you're carrying on your card. It's insane. Now that we've got the main rules out of the way in order to start building your credit history, I do want to briefly mention some common mistakes that you need to avoid. And they're so simple, but so many people make them. The first one is going to be making that minimum payment. Stop making the minimum payment. The balance left over after you make that minimum payment, like I said, is going to be carried on to the next statement, and that is going to be carried on with interest. If you don't know, that interest can be up to 30% with some cards, and that is a lot of money depending on the balance that is left over. The next mistake is going to be down the line closing your first credit card. Don't do that. Please don't do that, because that first credit card is going to be the backbone to everything. That credit card is going to grow, and it's going to have such a long credit history age that is going to help your credit score in the long run. Whereas if you cut that card off, it's going to lower your average age of all of your credit accounts and then therefore lower your credit score. And we've already talked about how that may affect you. And a question I always had was, how long does it take after you have followed these financially sound rules? How long does it take to see the results and the success? Good credit and over 700 can easily come within 6 to 12 months if you're following smart habits. I'm pretty positive that my credit score had already hit 700 within the first 6 months of having my first credit card. So it's definitely doable. You just need to follow these steps. I truly believe that credit is about patience. The longer your history, the stronger your score. Now, just to recap really quickly about everything that we've covered in this video so far, first we're going to check and see if you have any credit at all. If not, you're going to go and look and find the first card that fits your spending. That means a student credit card, a secured credit card, or if you're not old enough, become an authorized user. Then once you have your card, you're going to want to put a couple of maybe small subscriptions, gas, whatever the case is on that card, and then make sure that you're paying it off on time and in full every month. Then let time do the rest. You cooked. That's it. That's all you got to do. Credit, like anything in life, isn't about being perfect. I think it's truly about being consistent. Start building it right now, and your future will thank you. Drop a comment down below if you just started building your credit journey or if you have any questions about everything we talked about in this video. This is my first YouTube video and the first of many brutally honest guides on money. So hit subscribe if you want to build your finances the smart way, and I'll see y'all next week.